The galaxy's mockery, the great hall of the Galactic Senate, was filled with light, sound, and arrogance. Hundreds of alien delegates sat in their floating seats, their jeweled robes shimmering, their voices echoing across the chamber. Every race present considered themselves important, ancient, and powerful. And in their eyes, humanity was none of these things. At the center of the hall, in a small seat compared to the towering alien thrones, sat Admiral Rhea Carter, the chosen representative of Earth. Her uniform was simple compared to the flowing silk and metallic garments worn by the aliens. Her calm eyes studied the room while laughter rang all around her. They call themselves a species? A scaled reptilian delegate hissed, his long tongue flicking the air. Barely a few centuries in space travel. They are children. Another alien, tall and insect-like, with glowing wings, leaned forward and clicked its mandibles. Children with weak ships. Their fleets are made of scrap metal compared to ours. The laughter spread through the hall like a wave. Admiral Rhea said nothing. She did not rise. She did not defend her people. She only let her fingers tap lightly against the armrest, as though waiting. Her silence only fueled more ridicule. Humanity is fragile, one of the oldest races declared. They beg for membership in our union, yet bring nothing of value. No strong technology, no ancient wisdom, no fleets to protect our borders. Only their pride. The insults continued, sharp and cruel, each meant to cut deeper. But Admiral, Rhea's lips curved into the faintest of smiles. She was not angry. She was patient. Then the chamber doors opened and a messenger rushed in. His holographic scroll flickered to life in the air. Council! A crisis! A hostile armada has entered. The Perseus Gate. Their course is set toward Sol, the human homeworld. Instantly the laughter died. The chamber filled with whispers, panic, and quiet delight. Some aliens muttered that this would finally prove humanity's weakness. Others whispered that Earth would beg for protection, kneel for mercy, and pay heavy tribute for the Senate's aid. The Speaker of the Council turned to Admiral Rhea, his voice dripping with superiority. Human, do you beg for our fleets to defend your home? Will you kneel before the Senate, and perhaps we will grant you protection? The hall grew quiet, every eye fixed on the lone human representative. This was the moment they had been waiting. For the moment humanity admitted it was small, weak, and helpless. But Admiral Rhea did not kneel. She did not bow. Instead, she stood slowly, her boots echoing against the polished floor. Her calm voice carried across the chamber. No, she said. We will not kneel. We will not beg. Earth does not need your protection. The aliens gasped. Some hissed. Some even laughed again, certain the human was mad. Do you mean to say? The Speaker asked, that your fragile fleets can stand against a full invasion force? Admiral Rhea's smile widened just slightly. Our fleets are not fragile. Our strength is not what you think. You believe humanity is young, that we are new. But you are wrong. She paused, her voice becoming colder. You have forgotten. What lies buried? We have not. Whispers filled the chamber. Some aliens leaned forward, confused. Others sneered, thinking her words meaningless. But far away, on the red sands of Mars, something ancient stirred deep beneath the ground, where no colony had ever dug. A beacon lit up for the first time in 10,000 years. It was small at first, no more than a pulse, but with each second the signal grew stronger. Martian engineers monitoring the planet's sensors stared in disbelief. There's something under the surface, one muttered. Something massive. Energy readings older than anything I've ever seen. The ground trembled. Dust rose in great red clouds. Metal groaned and shifted as buried doors, larger than mountains, began to open. What rose from beneath was not a building. It was not a mine. It was a ship, a warship, black as the void, covered in markings that no one could translate. Its design was nothing like modern human ships. Its size dwarfed them. And yet, the symbol etched into its hull was clear a human symbol. Ancient but familiar, the ship's engines glowed, though no one had touched them. Its systems came alive as though waking from a long sleep. The Martian engineers could only watch in shock as the warship sent out a signal across the stars. Back in the Senate chamber, a hologram suddenly appeared in front of Admiral Rhea. It was a transmission from Mars. The massive warship loomed in the projection, its shadow stretching. Across the red desert, gasps filled the hall. "What is that?" One alien whispered. Admiral Rhea's eyes never left the council speaker. Her voice was steady and unshaken. "That," she said, "is the first of our guardians, buried when your empires were still dust. You laughed at humanity, called us weak, called us children. But you forgot one truth." The chamber was silent. Every delegate frozen. Admiral Rhea raised her chin. "We are older than you think, and when the time comes, we awaken." The Senate was silent, and deep on Mars, the ancient warship's engines roared. The first awakening, the Martian sky was dark, but not from night. A massive shadow loomed over the red horizon, hiding the stars. It wasn't a storm. It wasn't a moon. It was the warship, huge, silent, and very much alive. Commander Elias stood frozen at the control station of Mars Base Theta. His crew had gathered behind him, all staring at the holographic scans. The thing under the sand was no myth. It had risen, and it was watching them. "No one built this in the last 100 years," Elias whispered. "Not us, not the Union. This thing is ancient." The ship floated slowly, dust trailing from its sides like smoke. Its hull was black and strange, covered in patterns that shimmered as if alive. No one understood the symbols carved deep into its armor, but one thing was clear: it bore the old Earth seal, a version not used since the first age of expansion, a time long erased from official history. Suddenly, the ship turned. It faced the human base. Every screen inside Base Theta flickered. Lights dimmed, alarms wailed, then everything went silent. One screen lit up, just one. A message appeared. Guardian 01 awakening complete. Requesting command protocol activation. Commander Elias frowned. "Command protocol? What command protocol?" Another line appeared. Input: Omega access key, authorized only by Lineage Prime. Lineage Prime? That term hadn't been used in any official military record for thousands of years. Elias turned to his science officer. "Run a search. Find everything on Omega Protocol. Deep Earth files, unsealed archives, military black layers. I want everything." The officer nodded, already pulling data from restricted EarthNet layers. Back on Earth, Admiral Rhea stood in a darkened war room below New Geneva. The Senate's transmission had ended, but the true work had just begun. She stood before a wall covered in dust-covered maps, ancient star charts, and one long, faded scroll sealed behind glass. The seal was breaking. Rhea reached out, entered her DNA code, and the glass slid open. She took the scroll, unrolling it carefully. Inside were the old human directives, written in Earth Latin, one of the oldest recorded languages. Her assistant stepped forward, confused. "Ma'am, what is this?" "It's from before the fall," she said, "before we forgot who we were." Her assistant's eyes widened. "You mean the myths? The First Empire?" "They weren't myths," Rhea said. "They were buried. On purpose." The scroll described the Guardian Fleet, a set of ancient warships built not to fight alien empires, but to stop something far worse, something that once threatened the whole galaxy and nearly wiped out the first human civilization. Each ship was designed to sleep until humanity was ready. Until the danger returned. Now one had awakened. A signal blinked on her tablet. Mars was requesting the Omega Protocol key. She pressed her hand against the tablet, her biometric ID matching an ancient Code 1 passed down in secret across generations of Earth's military leadership. Access granted. Far above Mars, the Guardian warship changed. Lights along its hull flared blue. Panels opened. Hidden weapons emerged, massive plasma arrays, energy blades, and cannons the size of skyscrapers. It wasn't just awakening. It was preparing for war. Suddenly, the ship moved fast. Too fast. For its size. It shot into space, moving like a predator unleashed. Satellites barely tracked its motion. Inside the ship, systems that had been offline for millennia began to reboot. Searching for hostile targets. Primary mission: protect Sol system from Class X threats. Status: enemies approaching. Action required. Elsewhere in the galaxy, Commander Varnock of the Kraylan Armada sat in his throne aboard the dreadnought. Fang of Silence. His ships were less than 72 hours from Earth. His mission was clear: invade and humiliate the humans. Show the Union that Earth was weak and undeserving of protection. He leaned back, confident. By the time we arrive, there, cities will be dust. Suddenly, a dark shape appeared on his holoscreen, massive, black, and fast. It wasn't a Union ship. It wasn't Kraylan tech either. It was heading straight toward his fleet. What is that? Varnock growled. His sensors officer's skin paled. Unknown vessel, Commander. Size, 3 times our flagship. Heat signatures, off the scale. I think it's human. Impossible, Varnock snapped. They have nothing of that size. Then the ship sent a message, one line, broadcast in the ancient galactic tongue. You enter Sol uninvited. You have awakened the first of us. Before they could respond, the Guardian ship fired. A single beam, white-hot and silent, cut through the void. It sliced one of the Kraylan destroyers clean in half. No sound, just light. Then pieces of the ship drifted in space, burning quietly. Varnock stood in silence. Fear crept into his chest. This ... This isn't human tech, he muttered. But deep inside, he knew the truth. It was human. Just not from this age. Asterisk shadows of the past. The Kraylan destroyer burned silently in space, its wreckage spinning slowly under the cold light of distant stars. The enemy fleet had stopped moving. The massive human warship Guardian 01 hovered nearby, glowing, with power that none of the alien commanders could understand. Far from the battlefield, in a secret chamber, deep inside the Galactic Union's Central Intelligence Wing, whispers turned into panic. The director of interspecies surveillance, a gray-skinned being named Yulvin, watched the battle footage again and again. One shot, he muttered. One beam, one hit, one destroyer gone. He turned to his aide. Send the shadow unit. Tell them to board that warship. I want answers. How old is it? Who made it? And how many more are there? Later, near Mars orbit... 3 small stealth pods, invisible to human sensors, approached the dark warship. Inside were elite agents from 3 powerful alien species experts in infiltration, espionage, and ancient tech recovery. Agent Keth was the team leader. She was tall, her eyes cold and calculating. Her people were known for hacking ancient systems and stealing forbidden knowledge. This ship is a ghost, she whispered. But we're here to wake the dead. The pods attached silently to the underside of the warship. The team slipped inside through a forgotten maintenance shaft. The interior was cold, metallic, and far too quiet. They expected dust, darkness, or decay. But everything inside was alive. Inside the warship, the halls were clean. Lights pulsed faintly along the walls. Strange symbols glowed as the agents moved. None of them could read the language, but the energy felt ancient and dangerous. As they moved deeper, Keth's scanner picked up something. Unusual. These materials, she whispered. They're not just old. They're impossible. The walls were made of alloys that didn't exist in modern databases. Some of the tech pulsed with living energy. Others responded to their movement, like the ship knew they were there. Suddenly, a door slid open on its own. Behind it was a massive chamber, a bridge, or perhaps a command center. In the center was a large crystal sphere, floating mid-air, surrounded by rotating rings. Energy flowed from it in slow, controlled pulses. Keth approached it, scanning carefully. This is the ship's memory core. She reached out, and the moment her fingers touched the surface, her mind was thrown into another time. Flashback. The first human empire. Keth stood, not in the warship, but on a massive space station orbiting. A burning star. She saw humans taller, stronger, and more advanced than any she had known. They wore armor of living metal. Their ships were not flown. They were connected to their minds. She saw fleets launch across the stars, not to conquer planets, but to defend them. The threat they faced was not alien empires. It was something darker, something that devoured suns, erased planets, and left only silence behind. The ancient humans had fought it back, not once, but many times. Then they vanished. Keth gasped and collapsed, the vision fading. Back on the ship, her team surrounded her. What did you see? One asked. Keth looked at them, her voice shaky. This ship, it's from the first human empire. They were here before any of us. Before the Union. Before our oldest records. The others stared in disbelief. You mean the stories were real? One whispered. The Age of Titans? Keth nodded. And we were wrong to wake them. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Red lights flashed. Intruders detected. The ship had noticed them. The floor beneath their feet shifted. Metal walls began to close in. Run! Keth shouted. The team sprinted back the way they came, but doors were sealing all around them. One by one, the aliens were cut off, trapped, caught, or disintegrated by energy fields. Only Keth made it back to the Chi pod. It launched just before the docking ring melted behind her. She floated in silence, watching the massive ship turn its gaze toward her. A message came through her, spoken in old Earth tongue, but translated perfectly. We do not forget spies. We remember. Back at the Galactic Union, Keth sat in front of Director Yulvin, pale and shaking. You've seen something no one else has, he said. Tell me, what did you learn? Keth looked up, eyes full of fear. We made a mistake, she said. We thought humans were young, but they are older than all of us. They built ships to fight monsters we have never seen. And now, she swallowed, now they're waking up. Humanity's forgotten empire in the quiet halls beneath New Geneva, far below Earth's surface. A private war room glowed with blue holographic maps and silent data streams. Only a few people were allowed here. Only those who knew the truth. Admiral Rhea stood at the center, facing a long, ancient wall of iron and stone. Behind her stood President Lorne, the leader of the Earth Confederation, and several high-ranking commanders. None of them spoke. They waited as Rhea slowly placed her hand on the scanner. The wall split open. A hidden chamber revealed itself, dusty, untouched, filled with relics no one had seen in thousands of years. President Lorne stepped forward. Is this real? Rhea nodded. Everything the Galactic Union told us about our past was wrong. What we call the first human age was actually the second. She walked toward a large steel door and typed in an old command code. The screen above it lit up. Vault 7, Terran origin files, level black. Inside, they found what the galaxy had forgotten: scrolls, sealed records, blueprints of technology no modern human could build, and most importantly, maps of an empire that once stretched across 5 galaxies. "We were not always the weak ones," Rhea said quietly. "We ruled once, we fell, and we erased ourselves." One of the generals stepped forward, confused. "Why would we hide this? Why would we bury our greatest weapons?" Rhea turned. "Because we feared something even greater. The secret history thousands of years ago. Humanity didn't just travel the stars, they mastered them. The first empire had energy cores the size of cities, warships that could destroy moons with a single pulse, and soldiers who merged with machines. But then, something came. It wasn't a species. It wasn't even alive in the normal sense. It was called the Void Hunger. A dark presence that consumed light, sound, memory, entire civilizations. The first empire fought it for centuries. In the end, they won, but just barely. Instead of continuing their reign, the survivors chose another path. They sealed their weapons. They erased records. They allowed the next human generation to start again, peaceful, unknowing, and safe. Guardian ships were buried under planets, moons, and stars, each set to wake if the void ever returned. Now, one had awakened. And more were stirring. Back on Europa's moon, beneath the icy crust of Jupiter's moon, Europa, a research team, had been receiving strange readings for days. Vibrations beneath the ice. Echoes like thunder. Then, cracks. Dr. Vanna, a geologist from Earth, stood on the edge of the drill site when the ground gave way. From below the ice, a bright blue glow emerged. The frozen surface broke open as something metallic rose from the deep water. A warship, dark silver, with glowing blue veins across its hull. It was different from the one on Mars. This one was smoother, faster looking, almost like it swam through space, not flew. The scientists scrambled back as the ship emerged completely, hovering above the icy moon. "Is that another one?" Dr. Vanna whispered. Her assistant nodded, his voice shaking. "Guardian 02, Europa class." Galactic panic in the Galactic Union Senate. Panic had replaced laughter. The news of the second ship had arrived quickly. "They have more than one," a three-eyed senator shouted. "This is not a defense system. It's a hidden fleet." "The humans lied," another roared. "They pretended to be weak." The council's speaker raised his hands. "Enough. We will send an investigation team. No war. Not yet." But whispers had already begun. If the humans remember who they were, they may not stop at defense. Back on Earth, Rhea stood with President Lorne, watching the live footage of Guardian 02 lifting from Europa. "There are more," she said. "At least 9. One on Titan, one inside the asteroid belt, and others off-world." Lorne's voice was low. "And what if they all wake up?" Rhea looked him in the eye. "Then humanity will remember who we were." A soft ping interrupted them. It was a signal from Guardian 01. The message was short but clear. "Void signature detected." Everyone in the room froze. "What does it mean?" a general asked. Rhea's face turned pale. "It means the thing our ancestors fought, the thing we feared. It's coming back." Meanwhile, at the edge of the galaxy, in a dark, cold part of space where no stars shined, something moved. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't even alive by normal standards. It was hunger, shadow, silence. And it had heard the awakening of the Guardians. Turned and began its journey toward Sol. Asterisk. The enemy arrives. The Sol system was quiet. Earth rotated slowly in the distance, peaceful and unaware of what was coming. The stars shimmered above the planets. But something was moving fast. From the edge of the system, near the icy clouds of the Oort belt, The Kraylan armada arrived. Hundreds of alien warships, shaped like blades and bones, cut through the void with glowing engines and silent confidence. Their commander, Lord Varnock, stood at the front of the lead dreadnought, his eyes cold and proud. He stared at the holographic display, showing Earth and its surrounding moons. "At last," he said. "Time to remind these apes why they don't belong in the stars." His second-in-command, a smaller creature with shaking hands, looked uneasy. "Commander, we still haven't confirmed what destroyed our forward ship." "The weapon used by the humans," Varnock growled. "One lucky shot, one ship. They have nothing else." But he was wrong. Mars orbit Guardian 01, the first awakened warship, Guardian 01, floated silently above Mars. Its hull shimmered with dark red light. Symbols along its sides pulsed with power. It had been quiet for days, observing, analyzing, remembering now. It activated the ship's deep system spoke in languages no human had heard in thousands of years. Enemy threat confirmed. Combat mode engaged. Linking to sibling. Guardian units. Its eyes opened two massive energy cores that glowed like suns. Across the solar system, the message went out: "Stand by." Defense protocol initiated. Europa orbit, Guardian 02, in the icy orbit of Jupiter's moon, Guardian 02 came to life. Its sleek silver body shimmered like liquid metal. Unlike the heavy might of Guardian 01, this ship was built for speed, precision, and stealth. It moved fast, silent, and deadly, disappearing from sensors. Before appearing miles away a second later, both ships turned toward the incoming Kraylan fleet. Back on Earth, in the underground war room, alarms echoed. "Enemy fleet has entered the outer system," said Commander Reyes. 217 confirmed warships, including 6 capital-class vessels. President Lorne's face was grim. "And our fleet? We've only moved the basic defense grid into position. We didn't expect them this soon." Everyone turned to Admiral Rhea. She tapped her screen. "Activate the Guardians. First contact the Kraylan ships passed Saturn. Weapons charged. Then everything stopped. A massive energy wave cut across the void, bright, blinding, and impossible to ignore." Varnock's eyes widened. "What was that?" Then the screen showed it. Guardian-01. It had moved directly in their path, towering, quiet and powerful. Behind it, Guardian 02 shimmered into existence, peering from nothing like a ghost. The alien fleet paused. And then the Guardians attacked. The battle begins. Guardian 01 fired the first shot. It didn't use missiles or lasers. It used a beam of compressed gravity, focused through 1,000 energy points. It hit a Kraylan destroyer and crushed it in a blink, flattened like paper. Gone without sound. Guardian 02 moved next, spinning through the fleet like a silent knife. Its weapons sliced with perfect aim, non-lethal to some, completely erasing others. The Kraylan fleet panicked. Ships turned. Others fired wildly, missing. Their shields meant nothing. Their size meant nothing. Varnock shouted, "Regroup, retarget. Use everything." But it didn't matter. The Guardians weren't fighting like machines. They were alive. They anticipated every move. They learned each enemy tactic in seconds. They didn't just destroy. They hunted. In the Galactic Senate, on the distant world of Atris Prime. The Galactic Senate watched the live broadcast in shock. The same senators who once laughed at humanity now sat silent. "They're winning," whispered a green-skinned ambassador. "2 ships. 2. No," said another. "Not just ships. These are relics, artifacts, machines from the beginning." Someone finally asked the question they were all afraid of. If humanity has 2, how many more are sleeping? Back in battle, the Kraylan command ship shook under a direct hit. Fires broke out. Emergency lights flickered. Half the crew was gone. Varnock stood with his back against the wall, eyes wide. This is not possible. He watched as Guardian 01 slowly approached, its glowing core pulsing like a heart. Then, without a sound, it sent a message directly to his ship. You trespassed on Sol. You brought war. Now you face judgment. The message wasn't just a warning dot. It was a sentence. Sudden silence. The battle ended as fast as it began. Guardian 01 raised a single arm-like structure. Energy built into its tip. And then, white light. Total silence. When the sensors cleared, only pieces of the Kraylan fleet remained. Over 200 ships gone. The few survivors fled at full speed. Aftermath. Earth's skies remained calm. The people had no idea how close they had come to invasion. But in the hidden war room, everyone now understood the truth. Humanity was not weak. They had simply forgotten how strong they once were. Now, they were beginning to remember. War of the Ancients. The stars were quiet again, but only for a moment. After the destruction of the Kraylan fleet, the galaxy was stunned. 2 human warships had defeated hundreds. The Galactic Union fell into silence. No more jokes. No more insults. But humanity was not celebrating. Something worse was coming. Earth orbit. Guardian 01 bridged core deep inside the massive ship. Lights flickered as systems continued to wake. Data flowed from forgotten files. Lost histories returned. Strange signal had reached the ship one it hadn't received in over 50,000 years. Void presence detected. Coordinates: Galactic edge. Signal origin: the Maw. The ship responded with urgency. Activate warning code. Genesis protocol. On Earth, Admiral Rhea stood frozen as the signal displayed on her screen. The Guardian wasn't calling for help. It was warning them. President Lorne leaned in. What is the Maw? Rhea answered slowly. It's not a place. It's a scar. A wound in the universe. A place even the ancients feared. Flashback. Memories from the War. Guardian 01 played an old recording. A man in black and silver armor stood before a fleet of warships, his voice deep, calm, and heavy with dread. To the future. If you find this message, it means we failed to destroy the hunger. It comes not from space, but from the dark between dimensions. It feeds on energy, on thought, on memory. It cannot be reasoned with. It cannot be stopped by normal means. That's why we built the Guardians, not to fight wars, but to seal the darkness away. The message ended. No one in the room spoke. The ancient threat had a name. The Voidborn. Galactic edge. A new signal far beyond the reach of most civilizations. At the edge of the galaxy, something stirred. A dark cloud moved through space. No stars shined where it passed. Ships that entered never returned. And now, something inside it opened its eyes for the first time in eons. The Voidborn had heard the call. It remembered the Guardians. It remembered its defeat. And now it wanted revenge. Earth's response in the hidden Terran command bunker. Rhea and her generals gathered. There are more Guardians, she said. 7 still buried across the solar system. 2 have awakened. We need the others now. But the awakenings may be unstable, warned General Reyes. If we move too fast, the systems could fail or worse, attack us. We don't have time, Rhea replied. This isn't just a war. It's a return. She sent a coded order. Activate sites. Titan, Ceres, Luna, Ganymede, Triton. Begin protocol. Unity flame. Across the solar system, massive tremors shook planets and moons. On Titan, beneath the methane seas, Guardian 03 rose in a column of fire and steam. On Luna, Earth's moon, an old crater cracked open, revealing Guardian 04 round, powerful, and bristling with defense grids. From the asteroid Ceres, Guardian 05 emerged slowly, glowing green, covered in strange crystal-like armor, on icy Triton. Neptune's moon, Guardian 06, lit up the sky like a new sun. Each ship connected instantly with Guardian 01. Their minds joined. Their memories flowed together. And one word passed between them all: prepare. The galaxy reacts in the Senate chamber. No one laughed anymore. We're seeing 6 of them now, a red-skinned ambassador said. All active, all under human. Command, do we stop them? Another asked. Stop them? A speaker replied, pale and sweating. No, we pray they are enough. The coming darkness near the galactic edge, the stars began to vanish. Whole sectors of space darkened. Energy readings dropped to 0. Civilizations on distant planets stopped sending messages. Ships went silent. The Voidborn were not machines. They were shadows that fed on light, hope, and memory itself. They didn't just destroy fleets. They erased history. Final assembly above Earth. 6 Guardians floated in perfect formation, ancient, massive, alive. On board the lead ship, Rhea stood. Before the central command screen. The last Guardian, she whispered, isn't in our system. Everyone looked at her. It was sent away long ago to lead the final defense. President Lorne asked quietly, where? Rhea pressed a key. A hidden map appeared. A path beyond the Milky Way. Another galaxy. A secret. The 7th Guardian is out there. The signal suddenly. Guardian 01 pulsed brightly. A new signal came through. From deep space. From the 7th Guardian. I have awakened. I have seen them all. The void is coming. Asterisk. The last protocol. The galaxy stood on the edge of fear. The Voidborn had arrived. Entire star systems had gone dark. Communications failed. Scout fleets disappeared. Even light could not escape the growing shadow that spread across the edge of the galaxy. It was like a sickness spreading faster each day. Only one force stood in its path. Humanity's ancient guardians. Solar system. Guardian assembly in high orbit above Earth. 6 massive warships floated like giants of steel and light. Each one older than memory. Each one glowing with strange energy. They were not alone now. From deep space, the 7th Guardian returned. It tore through the stars like a comet of silver fire, surrounded by a burning halo. The void behind it chased, like a living storm. Admiral Rhea stood aboard Guardian 01's bridge. She stared at the incoming feed, the 7th and final ship joining formation. She turned to her officers. The Guardians are one again. It's time. Terran command on Earth. In a hidden command vault under Antarctica, ancient switches were being turned for the first time in 50,000 years. A single word blinked on every console. Execute last protocol. Omega Flame. President Lorne gave a quiet nod. Let history remember this moment, not as the end, but the moment we stood up and didn't kneel. Final strategy. The Guardians formed a sphere around the Sol system, each one channeling its energy into a combined defense field. This was not just a wall. It was a weapon. A single core made from a collapsed star, activated in the center of Guardian 01. Its light was pure white, blinding and ancient. The same energy the First Empire used to trap the Voidborn before. But even that was not enough. Rhea knew it. The Guardians could hold the line. But to destroy the Voidborn completely, they had to go to it. The leap into darkness. The 7th Guardian, faster and more agile than the rest, opened a jump corridor straight toward them all, the place where the Voidborn entered the galaxy. Others followed. 7 ships, 7 flames, 7 memories of what humanity used to be. As the ships vanished into the corridor, Earth's skies remained clear. But every living being felt the weight of silence. Inside the maw, Guardians arrived. In dead space. No stars, no sound, only blackness. But the moment they appeared, the shadows moved. The Voidborn was massive, impossible to measure. It didn't have a shape. It was everything and nothing. It whispered without sound. It saw without eyes. It remembered pain, and it hated the ones who gave it that pain. Humanity. The final battle. The Guardians attacked first. Streams of ancient energy, white, blue, violet, cut across the void like rivers of light. The Voidborn screamed, but not in sound and feeling. The crews felt it in their bones. The creature struck back, warping gravity, twisting space, breaking the rules of physics. One Guardian series class was torn in half. Its pilot smiled before. The end. We were forgotten, but not anymore. The other Guardians held formation. The seventh Guardian flew into the center of them all. It carried the last weapon, something not even the other ships had, the flame core, a pulse of reality forged by humans, made to rewrite matter itself. The sacrifice, the seventh Guardian sent one final message to Rhea. Thank you for remembering us. Then it exploded. A white wave surged out, burning them all clean. Not with heat, but truth. The Voidborn shrieked as light returned. And then silence. Real silence. The kind that brings peace. Aftermath. The 6 remaining Guardians drifted in space, damaged but alive. Rhea, covered in sweat and tears, looked at the screen. The void was gone. The maw had closed, and humanity had returned to Earth. The Guardians returned slowly, carrying the scars of war and the memory of their lost brother. The people of Earth saw them for the first time floating across the skies like ancient gods returned. Admiral Rhea gave her. Report to the Galactic Union. She stood tall. You called us children. You laughed. You forgot who we were. But now you've seen. She paused. We are humanity. We do not run. We remember. We endure. And when the stars go dark, we become their light. Final scene. On a quiet night, a child on Earth looked up and pointed. Mom, what's that? His mother smiled. That's one of the Guardians. It protects us. The child stared in wonder. Were we really that strong? She hugged him. We still are. Above them, Guardian 01 watched in silence. It had waited thousands of years to protect Earth again. Now, it was home, and it would never sleep again. Asterisk.